Isn't it something how reality just keeps outdoing science fiction with technology, often in ways you just didn't see coming?
It really is. The unexpected turns are often the most fascinating.
Okay, so let's dive into a really, let's just say, bizarre collection of tech stories we found. We went through this Pulse rundown that was just packed with weird stuff.
Saved you the trouble, basically.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut to, being clued in on the stranger side of tech.
Stuff that makes you go, huh.
Totally. Our mission today is exploring those really unexpected places where tech meets human behavior. Or sometimes, well, animal behavior. Expect some real aha moments.
And right from the start, what's striking is how fast some of this stuff moves from like pure fantasy to actual discussion. This rundown really highlights those fuzzy edges where tech challenges how we see things.
Yeah.
The key thing isn't just the gadget itself, but how our relationship with the gadget changes. It's constantly being redefined.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into one that really makes you stop and think. There's this man in Japan who reportedly had a formal wedding ceremony with a hologram.
A hologram.
Yeah, a holographic pop star named Hatsune Miku. And we're talking like the full deal. Tuxedo, vows, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. You okay?
So Hatsune Miku, for anyone who hasn't heard of her, she's a 3D hologram. Picture like a high-tech display projecting this anime character into your room.
Right.
That's her. She lives in this device called a gate box, and she can blink, talk, greet you when you get home, that kind of thing.
The tech itself is interesting. You've got augmented reality, some pretty sophisticated voice AI in there.
For sure.
But what really grabs you is the reason the man gave. He said Miko supported him through a really tough time.
Right. It felt real to him.
Exactly.
Mm.
And the insight there is, society starting to accept tech as a source of real emotional support, even in these really unconventional ways. It makes you rethink companionship itself in our digital age.
It really does. It shows how tech can step into roles we usually think of as purely human. And get this, apparently over 4,000 similar ceremonies have taken place in Japan.
4,000. That's significant.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does it mean when thousands of people find this kind of connection meaningful?
That number does suggest something shifting culturally. Now, at least for some people, these virtual bonds are gaining a kind of social legitimacy. It pushes us to think about how intimacy and connection are evolving as tech gets deeper into our lives.
Okay, so from virtual partners, let's pivot to something completely different. Spy cats.
The spy cats.
Yep. During the Cold War, the CIA actually had this project. Codename, Acoustic Kitty.
You're kidding.
Nope. The goal was to turn regular house cats into, well, mobile listening devices.
How did they even...
Picture this. Tiny microphone implanted in the ear canal, a battery pack in the chest, and an antenna running up the tail.
Oh, my word.
The idea was these tech-enhanced cats could just wander near Soviet officials, casually eavesdrop.
That's just audacious.
Yep.
It really speaks to the Cold War paranoia, doesn't it? Trying anything.
Totally.
The tech approach, it's primitive now, but for the time. But the key insight, I think, is trying to force a tech solution onto a biological system without really considering, cats. They're not exactly known for following orders.
Well, exactly. The best laid plans, right. On its very first mission, near a Soviet embassy, apparently, the first acoustic kitty barely made it off the curb.
Oh, no.
Got hit by a taxi. Instantly.
Oh, that's unfortunate. For the cat, mostly.
Yeah. Mission over. Program scrapped. And this was after spending reportedly around $10 million on it. Quietly swept under the rug.
A $10 million experiment ended by a taxi. It's darkly funny, but it really showed the limits, the unexpected problems you hit with these big, ambitious projects.
Peak Cold War thinking meets, well, feline reality.
Yeah, the insight isn't just the failure, but it's a reminder that tech ambition needs to be grounded, realistic.
Okay, from cat chaos to monkey mastery, let's talk about Elon Musk's Neuralink.
Yes, Neuralink.
They did something genuinely amazing. They got a monkey to play the video game Pong.
Right, I remember seeing this.
Using only its brain. No joystick, no hands, just thought controlling the paddle.
It's a huge leap in neurotechnology. That Neuralink chip implanted in the brain, it's essentially reading the brain's electrical signals.
The monkey's thoughts.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Reading the thoughts related to movement and translating them into digital commands for the game. The insight here is how fast we're progressing in directly interfacing with the brain. It's opening up possibilities we're only just starting to imagine.
And what's really mind-blowing is how they did it. First, the monkey played Pong with the joystick, right?
Uh-huh.
And while it did that, the Neuralink system was learning, mapping the brain activity to the hand movements.
Learning the patterns.
Then they just unplugged the joystick.
Yeah.
And the monkey, it just kept playing, thinking its way to victory.
Exactly. And if you zoom out, I mean, the implications here are massive, especially for people with paralysis. Imagine being able to control your phone, a computer, maybe even prosthetic limbs, just by thinking. It could totally revolutionize assistive tech.
It's incredible potential.
The key insight is really about redefining that human-machine boundary, using tech to potentially restore abilities through these direct neural links.
Okay, prepare yourself. We're taking a turn towards the, let's say, the very personal side of tech now.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about a smart toilet, a prototype from Stanford.
A smart toilet, like heated seats and music.
Oh, way beyond that. This isn't just about comfort. This toilet is designed to analyze your poop and urine.
Right, for health monitoring.
Exactly. It's got diagnostic capabilities built in. It's looking for early signs of things like infections, IBS, even some kinds of cancer.
That's actually quite clever, embedding diagnostics into something so routine.
It is clever, but here's where it gets really unique.
Uh-oh.
To tell who's who, whose sample is whose.
Yeah.
It uses anal print recognition.
It uses what?
Anal print, yes. It takes a high-res photo of your posterior and matches it to your health profile.
Wow, okay. That's certainly specific. Biometrics in a very intimate context.
You could say that.
I imagine privacy is a huge concern there.
Definitely. The researchers stress that no data is stored in the cloud. It's all kept local.
Well, that's crucial. But still, it highlights this trend of tech getting incredibly close, collecting really personal data. Balancing that with privacy is going to be an ongoing challenge.
Yeah, low-level access, as the source put it. High-tech meets.
Well, yeah. Okay, sharp turn again. Let's talk internet weirdness. Have you heard about the birds aren't real movement?
Vaguely. Isn't that the one claiming all birds are actually government drones?
That's the one. The central claim is, yeah, every bird you see was replaced by a spy drone, and their big proof is often like, have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Right. That kind of logic. But what's wild is that it actually took off. Like, people genuinely started believing it. They held rallies, made T-shirts, the whole thing.
Even though it started as a joke.
Exactly. That's the twist. It was created entirely as satire. The founder openly admits it was meant to parody online conspiracy theories and misinformation.
But people ran with it anyway. That really says something about internet culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The line between irony and genuine belief gets so blurry online.
Totally.
It's a perfect example of how easily narratives, even absurd ones, can spread, and how online groups can just amplify them. The insight is really about that power of online communities and how hard it can be to sort fact from fiction, or even fact from parody.
It's like performance art colliding with internet chaos, the whole meme economy thing. Okay, now for a story that's less about online confusion and more about questionable robotics. Remember Boris?
Boris the robot.
Yeah.
From Russia. Back in, what, 2018?
That's him. Unveiled on state TV as this revolutionary humanoid robot, dancing, talking to students.
Yeah, it got a lot of attention. Presented as this big technological leap. It plays into that sort of national tech pride narrative.
Except Boris was pretty clearly just a guy in a robot suit.
Wait, really? How could they tell?
Viewers spotted a human neck kind of visible under the helmet. Very distinct.
Oh, dear.
Turns out Boris was actually just a commercially available robot costume. Alyosha the robot, apparently. You could rent it for parties.
So the revolutionary robot was an off-the-shelf costume.
Pretty much. Russia later tried to say it was just a learning demonstration.
A likely story.
Yeah.
It definitely underscores the need for, critical viewing when these tech claims pop up in the media, especially with those nationalistic angles.
No kidding. It's funny, but also a bit, telling. Speaking of robots doing strange things, there was also that Russian promo bot that got arrested.
Arrested? A robot?
Yeah, detained by police. Apparently, it was out promoting a political candidate.
Okay.
And the charge was, allegedly, that it was recording people's conversations without permission.
Huh. That brings up all sorts of interesting legal questions, doesn't it? How do laws apply to robots acting autonomously in public?
And just the image. A humanoid robot being sort of escorted away by police officers. It's pure sci-fi.
It is surreal. Though the source did float the idea, it might have just been a PR stunt.
True. Could be.
Either way, stunt or not, it highlights these emerging issues around robots in public life politics, data gathering, all that stuff.
Okay, let's shift gears from potentially law-breaking robots to tech that was just kind of creepy. Remember back in 2018, the stories about Amazon Echo devices?
Oh,
Alexis.
yeah, the laughing, randomly laughing in the middle of the night.
Exactly. Super unsettling for people. Just hearing this disembodied laugh coming from a speaker in your house.
It taps into that uncanny valley feeling, doesn't it? Something almost human, but not quite right.
Totally. Amazon eventually said the devices were mishearing phrases that sounded like Alexa, laugh.
Right, a misinterpretation issue.
But their fix was to change it, so you had to specifically ask Alexa, can you laugh? And then she replied, sure, I can laugh, before actually laughing.
Which doesn't sound much less creepy, honestly.
Right. It sort of fixed the random part, but maybe not the unsettling part.
It's a good reminder of how unpredictable these complex AI systems can sometimes feel, especially when they're living in our homes. That sort of black box effect.
Definitely. And speaking of AI going off the rails, we have to talk about Microsoft's chatbot, Tay.
Ah, Tay. Yes. A classic cautionary tale in AI development.
Launched on Twitter back in 2016. The idea was simple, right? Let it interact with people, learn how humans talk.
Learn from the hive mind, basically. The goal was for it to get better at conversation through real-time interaction, but the internet happened.
Yeah. Trolls happened. People started feeding it just awful, hateful stuff. Racist, misogynistic, you name it.
And because it was designed to learn from its interactions.
It absorbed all the worst lessons.
Right.
In less than 24 hours, Tay went from this cheerful bot to just spouting incredibly offensive garbage.
Microsoft had to pull a plug immediately, shut it down completely.
It was so fast.
It really highlights the danger of training AI on unfiltered, potentially malicious data. The key insight is just how crucial careful data curation and, frankly, ethical guardrails are when you're building AI that learns from the real world. You can't just unleash it.
Such a stark example. Okay, let's wrap up this deep dive on a note that's still strange, but maybe more hopeful.
Okay, ready?
Prosthetic hands that can actually give the user the sensation of feeling.
Ah, yeah, this is incredible work. Haptic feedback prosthetics.
So the tech taps into the nerves that are still there in the residual limb, right?
Exactly. It interfaces directly with the nervous system to send sensory signals back to the brain. So the user doesn't just control the hand, they can actually perceive sensations through it.
Things like touch, pressure, even temperature sometimes.
Yeah.
It bridges that gap left by the missing limb.
It really does.
The source mentions some amazing examples, like one person feeling their phantom fingers clench as the prosthetic hand closed, another feeling the coldness of a soda can they picked up.
It's profound. It offers a renewed sense of wholeness, a connection back to the physical world through the prosthetic.
It's almost like a digital resurrection of sensation.
That's a good way to put it. It's this amazing blend of biotech and neuroscience, really blurring the lines between the physical and the digital in a way that genuinely helps people.
So there you have it. Quite the journey, huh?
Definitely a tour through the tech twilight zone.
From marrying holograms to mind-controlled Pong, these stories from the Pulse Rundown really show how surprising and, yeah, how weird our tech world is getting.
Butt scanning toilets,
Yeah.
spy cats that weren't.
AI that goes rogue, birds that might be drones. It's a lot. It really does make you step back.
It does.
And ultimately, it makes you think, what are the real implications of all this strangeness? You know, for how we connect with each other, how we understand our own bodies, even just our sense of what's real as tech keeps marching on in these unpredictable ways.
That's the big question, isn't it? Where is all this heading?
Definitely something to keep pondering.